Okay, I'll take that as a yes. Anyways, the first thing you guys might see here is the Unity Hub. So the Unity Hub is actually where we start making our own projects, and you can kind of see what it looks like right now. We have obviously the projects tab. I've already used this, right? So this has all my old projects from high school, but I view the projects tab, the installs. And the installs is important because it's kind of like the versions of Unity, right? So the versions of Unity have different features, and if you keep updating it, you're allowed to use more features. And these you don't really need to worry about. So our first thing really is creating a project. Now, all we need to do is basically create, say, a new project, right? And I'll just call it Unity demo. And you guys see here that you have different versions, right? You can do VR, AR, third person, first person, and stuff like that. You can also do 2D, but for now we're just gonna do 3D. Now it might take a while. All right, just so you guys know, the project is booting up. It's on a different screen. Um, the thing is, sometimes Unity is really slow, so it does take a while. Sometimes 2 minutes, but if you do have a good computer, unlike the one I have right now, it can be a lot faster. So I apologize for the time it might take for this to get up and running. It's still loading. So you guys can understand it's kind of a tedious process. And this is what it looks like when it's still loading. It's just saying resolving packages, but it will open eventually. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know why that's happening, why it's taking so long. It's literally been 3 minutes. All right, I ended that task. Why don't we just try opening up one of my old projects and see if that works? I apologize for this. I don't know why this is happening. It's not really a problem with Unity. It's just a problem with this computer because it is the only one that I have it downloaded on. And in school, it would work a lot faster. Oh, yep. Thank you all for waiting. It's finally done after almost 12 minutes, and it's still not loading. All right. Well, this is so if you get this, you can just like click off of that. But here is what the Unity looks like. I just gotta wait for it. Yeah, this is kind of a problem where it has to reload the graphics every single time because you change the tab. Anyways, here's what our project looks like. So this one is actually very basic. Actually, let me go to a different scene. Yeah, here, okay. So I guess I'll just explain everything that's here. So over here, you have your hierarchy, right? Now the hierarchy lists everything you have in this one scene. Now, a scene is like literally a scene from a movie. It's everything that happens at a specific moment or a specific okay, basically moment, right? So here I have my main camera, which is what when you press play here, you'll look through, and then the directional light is obviously the sun, and the canvas is actually something very unique. So in Unity, even though it's a 3D game, we have the ability to add a UI. Now, a UI is like a user interface basically. So kind of like the screen of my iPhone, right? Where I can send text messages. You can do the similar thing on Unity, where you can put buttons and uh, text where you can type things in, and that kind of helps with playability in a game, right? Obviously, if you're playing something like I don't know, Fortnite, you need to play game. I mean, you need to press play or like type in something or however that game works. And then one unique thing that we have here, which is actually an empty object. An empty object means that there's nothing there. Like literally, it's not like an object. If you import an object into a game, it's 3D. It's something physical, right? But empty object is actually nothing. It's just in the game, but doesn't have a physical presence. And this kind of helps with controlling the events, how they occur, right? So here we have an event system. And what I've done here is that I've actually put together multiple scenes to form a game. And what the importance of the event system is that if I press a certain thing, something happens, right? So I'm just gonna give a demo of what happens in my game because I made you guys wait super long, so I feel really bad. But you know, this is kind of just what you guys might expect if you make Unity games. Obviously, this one's not like super big, but this one was actually using a technology called Photon, which means you're allowed to create uh, multiplayer games in Unity, right? So here we have an enter name. So I'm just gonna say my name is Steve because I'm not gonna give them my real name. And then we have our own characters that are going to appear. Okay, enter room name. There's no room names, right? Because I've created this on my own account, so nothing has been set yet. So I'm gonna create that room, and bam, I'm here. You can see the test is there. And Steve, can you be either Mario or Princess Peach? And yeah, the other thing is that usually if I make another one, like another version of this game, like basically like you to go here and build it, and then another person logs in with the same credentials. They can also play. It becomes a multiplayer game. Anyways, I want to go here to show you the basics. So I'm gonna create a new scene and just run through everything. So if you guys don't know what it looks like, I'm just gonna do 3D built in because that means you can at least see everything, right? Because there's a sun in there. So what do we have here? We have a a scene with the main camera. I'll double click on it actually. We can go back and see it. Yep, there's the main camera and the directional light, which looks like that. It's basically just the sun for the scene, right? And you guys might be wondering, what are all these things here, right? So we have the hierarchy, which has, obviously, as I said, all the things in the scene. And it has, right now it's just a main camera and directional light. And then down here, we have assets. So assets are basically everything you've imported or created in the game that cannot be in the hierarchy, right? Which means it doesn't have like it's not like an object, right? So examples of that could be colors, right? If you have a type of color, like right here, this is actually a color right here. It's red. Or if you have images. So this is an image of a left arrow and a right arrow. And if you have scripts, so these are my scripts and they're all in C sharp, which is the programming language. And then we also have these folders called resource packs. So I've actually gone to the Unity store and downloaded things to help improve my game because obviously I'm not an animator, right? But these guys online are, so I can just go to the Unity store, kind of just like download stuff there, and then put it in my game. But we'll go through that later because that's pretty interesting too. So here you can see another version of the assets where it's kind of just like more organized, like a hierarchy. Now we have the console. Now the console is very important because one of the most important skills in programming is debugging, right? A lot of times you'll have problems where um, things are just floating around. Well, I mean, I'm not saying like, not saying literally, right? But they're not attached to anything. And sometimes scripts are also written improperly and they're referencing the wrong thing. Now, this an error will actually appear here and it'll tell you. So it should like go down here, you know, obviously once you get those errors right and you fix them, if you want them to not appear anymore, you just press clear and collapse. But obviously it's always important to have this up. And going to audio mixer, it's not really that important because we don't really like don't edit sounds that much. And over here we have the inspector. So the inspector kind of has all the components of whatever object you're looking at, right? So obviously, my directional light would have a light component, right? And you can change the type of light. So it could be directional, right? So it'd be a bit of wide area, or it could be in a spot, right? So only one like circle. And we have these other things that are you can usually look these up, but they do affect how light would appear. Another thing we have is up here we have this starts the game, this pauses the game, and this steps over, right? So this skips whatever's happening right now. And we kind of discussed step yesterday in Python, but you know this is like the exact same thing. It just skips over the step. And now we also have the game. So it's kind of like a game view, right? So when I go from scene to game, you're like wondering why it's all different, right? That's because in the scene you can actually move around and look at different perspectives, but in the game, this is the perspective of your camera. This is what you'll see, right? Now over here we have files, so you can save your project, you can open a project. One thing to note is saving your project is very, very important because if you don't and you try to open it up again, it might not save everything and you'll have to restart. And I speak from experience because that's very, very annoying. And here is something that's very, very important too. Build settings and build and run. So you guys were like, how did I go from one scene to another, right? There was that one scene where I put my name in, then there was a scene with the room names, and then there's a scene where you had to enter your room name. Then there was a scene where you had to change your character. Those were three scenes. And you can see here that that's how I did it. I actually um I add the scenes to the game, right? So here is how I do that. So I do add open scene and then because the first thing you need to do is actually to save this scene, and then you would need to add that. But since this is just a demo, I don't have to do that right now. And another thing is build and run. So build and run takes quite a bit of time, but what it does is it kind of gives you a playable version of the game that kind of looks more realistic, right? So obviously when you guys are loading up Fortnite or whatever, it's not gonna look like this, okay? It looks like, the game is clean, you jump into the scene, that's what happens. Kind of similar thing here. All this stuff over here disappears, and you're left with the playable version of the game where it's just the scene, just what's in here. But it doesn't look like that, obviously. It looks more like this. So, and then we have edit. You could just figure those out later. Assets. Um, don't really need to create them. That seems too crazy for what we're doing. Game object, component, window, and help. And what I was talking about Unity Asset Store is, let me just show it to you guys. Oh, my computer is really laggy right now. Oh, okay. Yeah, just trying to. Okay, here it is. So this is the Unity Asset Store. Yep. So, um, basically, here you have all these packs, packs with things. So if I wanted, you know, some cars in my game, just 1 second. Yeah, yeah, okay. Cars. There we go. And I was like, wait, these are all way too expensive. I don't have $50 to spend on a car. Well, you can just look for free assets. And bam, you have all these super cool looking cars that are all free. And all you gotta do is, sign into your account over here. I'm not signed in right now, but you gotta go here, then you gotta press download, and then it'll actually open up your Unity and install it for you. So I guess we'll start with the first thing, how to actually add something. So I'm going to actually, the first thing I'm going to add is a plane because I kind of need a background to see what's happening. So here, I do a right click, right? And then I get create empty 3D object, right? So the first one I'm going to do is a plane, which is literally a flat surface. So I'm going to go up. This is not up. Okay, yeah. I'm going to go up and I'm going to look down and then I'm going to find my plane. And you know what? I think I need to go a little bit higher. Okay. And I'm going to keep on going. And where is my plane? Well, I did not specify how tall it should be. But one thing I want to add is the colors. I don't actually know what I'm looking at. And bam, there it is. So one thing to note is the plane's actually not very big. So it seems like we're just kind of looking right at it, which makes it look very big. But I promise it's very small. Oh, there we go. There's our plane, right? So here it is. Now, say I don't like the height, right? Because I don't want it to be less than, I want everything to be 0, 0, 0. I can just change it right here. And another thing I can do is the rotation. So XYZ, obviously you guys understand that, right? So that one does it like that. That one does it like this. Oh, 45. There. See? And then that one is like that. And now I'm feeling like adding uh, I don't know, maybe just a square. So I'm gonna do that here. Yeah, oh, it's a cube. My bad. It's not a square. It's a cube because it's 3D. Um, Here, and then I'm gonna go. Actually, instead of just physically doing it, obviously, if you guys can't see it, you can do it like this. You can move it this way and that way with these arrows. But I like to use this because it's just more precise. And Y obviously controls height. So put a little bit of the ground, and you can see since the light is from this side, it's creating a shadow, which means it does actually follow physics. Now, what we're gonna do is that we're just gonna give it a rigid body You guys might be wondering what is that supposed to mean? Well, that just basically allows for physics to act on it, right? So here's a rigid body, and you can see here, uses gravity is turned on, and it has its mass, drag, and angular drag. And one actually important thing that I did use in high school for this specific process is that I would freeze the position to freeze the rotation, right? So, say I want something to move forward or backwards. Sometimes, physics obviously would allow some things to turn. If I didn't want that to happen, I would freeze rotation on certain axes. But we don't have to do that right now. So let's just look at what happens the game right now. It's gonna load, and yeah, this won't take as long. Okay, so it's just staying there. Yeah. Anyways, let me see if what happens if I turn on is kinematic. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I was actually adding this to the wrong thing. I actually added it to directional light, which makes no sense. Um, because I didn't add it to the right thing, it's just gonna float there, which is what's supposed to happen. So, going here, remove component. Now we go to the cube, and oh, you see, it already has all these things, right? It has a box collider. So a box collider just allows it to collide with something. So say you have these two cars, right? They're coming at each other. If you don't have box colliders, they just pass right through each other, and it'll make no sense, right? But with a collider, they'll hit each other, and something will happen. Who knows what? Maybe an explosion, or maybe they'll just go flying out into space. But basically, you just need that for realistic physics, which is why it's so important. Here's a rigid body, right? And it's on the cube. I'm making sure this time. So um, use gravity, and this should fall down and just disappear. Yep, this happens every single time. So just needs to be very careful. There it is. See, it fell down. Obviously, it was pretty laggy because this product also has other things running, and I'm using Chrome to stream this. So yeah, but you might be wondering, well, it fell, but why did it not fall through the plane? That doesn't make any sense. Well, that's because the plane also had a collider, which stopped it from moving. Now, you guys might be wondering, well, that's cool and all, right? But how do I make this thing move? And that'd be a valid question. Okay, so first let me um, save this as save as demo. Okay, and then there you go. You see, it's right here. It just appeared. The demo, and a scene that's saved looks like that. And now you can see that the name has actually changed from untitled to demo. So the first thing you want to do is if you want to make things start moving would be to add a component and then add a script. So a new script and name it just move cube. And then you guys need to have Visual Studios. So, oh, Visual Studio. It's just Visual Studio, not Visual Studios. Okay. And then basically, just need to open it up. This also might take a little bit of time, but it won't be that bad as Unity. So here we have it, Visual Studio. I had no idea how that happened. Anyways, oh, okay. So we have our Visual Studios, and I'm thinking, why don't I just run my script here? So Just gotta go like that. And you can see something is happening. So right now it's thinking, okay, I'm gonna go create this script here. Yeah. I do not know why two of these are open. Oh, okay. I apologize. More technical problems. My very small computer. Okay, now only one of these is running. Okay, so it does it every single time you press back on because there are so many things on this project. And you guys can see that this is what a blank script looks like. Okay, so what happens is that this actually started on a different version of uh, Visual Studios, which is Visual Studios 2020. Yeah, I just had to wait for it to start. Once again, I'm sorry for this happening. It's just because my computer is not powerful enough to run Big Marker, Unity, and stuff like that together. Yep, basically, you guys can see Chrome is using a very high amount of my power, which is really not good. So let's do a end task because that was just being a very big problem. Now we have to project or solution. See if I can open it like this. Same thing happening again. So I'm really sorry about this. If it's not my fault, but it is really annoying. All right, well, since that's not working, I'll show you what it would look like if it was working. So, come on. Here's Notepad, and I'm going to write the code for you guys that would allow the object to move. Okay. There we go. So, we have our script here. Once again, I'm really sorry. This is just a problem with my computer that I don't know why it's happening, even though it's a $2,000 computer. Anyways, first thing we need to do is actually have the fields that reference to our project. So, I mean, reference to our object, right? Now, our object that we were talking about was the cube. So we're going to do a um, game object new game object cube is equal to new game object. And that's kind of how you create a variable. And if I were to save the script and it was working, um, and I were to attach it to the cube, there would be a space where you could actually drag and drop the cube object here into the script, and it would reference to that. And the next thing that we want to do is use the transform function to move something. Um, so the transform can move something either um, you know left, right, forward, backward, and an example of that is uh, uh, okay. So basically, we have if input dot get key down is W, then obviously need these brackets afterwards too. Um, so we do W, A, S, and D. So here we had W, A, S, D, and then now we got to do the actual transforming, right? So we do cube dot transform. Uh, just gotta make sure I'm typing in the right code. And of course, Unity does not know what I'm talking about when they literally wrote this. Um, and sorry for the delay. I'm trying to find the code. Transform dot translate. Okay, well, it'd be transform dot translate dot forward, right? And then it'd be the exact same thing here. Cube dot transform dot translate uh, left, and then a we have our S would be back, and D would be right. So I'm really sorry about this. I know it's kind of weird that we have to do this in Notepad because uh, I didn't mean to press that too either. Here, file, save. I'm sorry to do this in Notepad. Uh, okay. Anyways, we have our uh, initial code here, which is start, and then we have update. Oh, I just have to do one thing. Time dot delta time. I do it for all of them actually. Okay, so now you may be wondering, how exactly does this make this move forward or backwards depending on what I'm pressing? So why did I not use this in the start function? Well, the start function only runs once, and that's at the beginning. But the update function runs every single second, or maybe microseconds. I'm not really sure. What we have here is that if we press W, the cube gets its transform component, right? And that's what is actually being moved within the cube. And then we're translating it forward, right? And then what this time to delta time means is that we don't want it to just zoom across the screen as soon as I press W, right? We want to do it very, very slowly. And time to delta time is that this means that this function happens every linearly, like as each second goes on, right? So now it's just more like this, very uniform, very uniform movement of speed. And if I could just open up my other code, but I can't. So yeah, it's still not responding. Okay, what a big surprise. I apologize for this happening again. I know it's not necessarily my fault because it's probably Unity's fault for making everything too slow. And here, that's how you would move these things. Now, another important thing would be obviously getting assets and adding them to the game. So, oh, actually, one thing I didn't go over was how to create colors because that's kind of basic and easy to do. So you had to right click here, go to create, and then you have all these super important things. But I obviously haven't used all of them. But here we have the material, and I'll just say I want it to be pink or something like that. And then it'll just be like that. Bam. It's not really pink, it's more like a hot pink, but it's close enough. And if I wanted just to add that, I can I can just drag and drop here. And bam, it's pink. Now, you guys saw that script, right? But the problem is it is attached, so it's fine, right? But the thing I was saying, right, if I were to save it and we have this game object here, right? Well, what happens is there's this little thing that appears under the script, right? And basically I would just need to drag my cube and put it in that little nook has been created. And other than that, this is really the most basic things, but um I really apologize. I do. It's just that I don't think that we can do anything else because my computer is just way too slow to run anything else, and to actually teach you anything, it would take probably more than 10 minutes. So I'm so sorry, but we're probably have to gonna cut this a bit short. So that's 9 minutes early. But I'm really sorry for the time that I wasted in the beginning with all these technical problems. I didn't know that this would happen because usually at school it boots up a lot faster. But I hope this can serve as a basis for inspiration of what you can actually start doing. And obviously, this code is not, I mean, this product is not very nice looking, but you can make it a lot better. So I hope this inspires you to learn more on your own. And I'm very sorry about the technical problems. And I hope you all have a nice day. So I'm very sorry about what happened. And basically, I'm just going to end the presentation a little bit early. But thank you all for coming, and I'll see you guys later if we do something else. So goodbye, everybody. You guys can all start leaving. Um, yeah, you guys are all welcome, and thank you guys for all coming too.